Hello everybody, welcome. It's time for video game pickups for this month. Nothing too, I would say nothing too crazy, but you might consider um, a new console to be crazy. Without further ado, let's just get started with that. Biggest thing that I got this month is I got a PS5. Definitely a couple months earlier than I thought I would get one, but surprising to have had two of them come in the store so far, and I said, you know what, yeah, I'm just gonna get a PS5. It's really cool, although most of the things that I'm playing on it so far are just PS4 games, because it's funny because there's PS4 games to play, because we've got the whole a bunch of stuff that I haven't played on the PS4, and the games that I've grabbed on PS Plus over the past couple months. First and foremost, Bugsnax and Astro's Playroom, which obviously is also free with the system. Both of those are great. Nothing huge yet. I have one game on the way right now that I wanted to play for it, and I have one game pre-ordered. So, I mean, absolute minimum, there will be two PS5 games in next month's pickups, but so far, the only physical I have right now is the Pathless. No hesitation getting the Pathless because it's published by Annapurna and it's made by Giant Squid, who did Abzu. And Annapurna, just the games that they choose to publish are just breathtaking, artistically, with so much integrity. I'm trying to find the right words for it, but the games that are in the Annapurna collection reflect very positively on the type of games that they choose to publish as a whole, and this is included in that. Although I will say I think this is the least I've really been into an Annapurna published game so far. I will say that this game has tremendous sense of movement and platforming, and just it's so smooth and so satisfying, but it doesn't have the greatest pace. I didn't really like the start-stop of puzzles and how far away everything is all the time. I love that sense of movement, traveling from one place to the other and exploring, but I didn't like when it had to be so far away. And if there was more combat and not actually puzzles that stop you dead in your tracks all the time, I would actually think this would be a better game. But it is worth a look. It's very pretty. It's like I said, it's very, very satisfying controls. But yeah, no, it's a good game, but I'm expecting some other stuff to come along, and hopefully will blow me away. We'll say though, Bugsnax, getting that on physical, that game is so good. Loved it. I have three more games from different systems, but I do actually have to talk about them all at once because they are all related. You may have seen last month, I think it was last month or the month before that, I picked up the Mummy Demastered when it came out on physical for the Switch. I played that game a little bit. It's really, really cool. And I went over how it's made by WayForward, and it's the best thing to come out of that Mummy reboot from 4 years ago. And I watched that movie, and I hated it. It sucks. I hate it so much. But yeah, so going on that, I started to look up some of the Mummy games, the other Mummy games from the original run of that series in the early 2000s. And what I found was two console games that aren't good, but aren't expensive either, so I picked them up because I've been watching all those movies, and I watched The Mummy Returns. It was really good. I watched The Scorpion King, which I watched a bunch when I was a kid. It was fine. And like I said, I watched the Mummy reboot. It was terrible. I hated it. What you have on console, not great Mummy Returns game, but you get to play as Imhotep, which is very important to me. I think that sounds really, really cool. So that's for PS2. Scorpion King Rise of the Akkadian, a pretty cut and paste hack and slash, but it has The Rock in it, and it's on GameCube, and so I picked that up because it's still cheap for now. And then we have this. We have the Scorpion King Sword of Osiris on the GameBoy Advance. Now, I'm looking at the Scorpion King games, because they made 2 Scorpion King games. They made a console game and a handheld game. And this game reviews pretty poorly, 5s mostly, and doesn't have that great of a reputation in hindsight. This game, Scorpion King Sword of Osiris, reviewed at like 80% critically back when it came out. I was blown away by that. I was like, how the fuck did that, like, it's, you know, movie tie-in Game Boy Advance game. Looked it up. It's made by WayForward. Mother of God, like, so those guys making the Mummy Demastered, stroke of genius, like, getting them to make the game. They have the roots in the Mummy franchise because they made this game. They made a 2D side-scroller on the Game Boy Advance. And those guys, I've talked about their games before that they made back in the day, and I swear to God, nobody paid their dues and put the work in for what should have been garbage and thankless and just, oh my God, so lame otherwise. Good on them. I will play this game. I think that's super awesome that they made another game that should have no right to be any good. Then I have another PS2 game, Buffy, the Vampire Slayer, Chaos Bleed, so I've got both Buffy games now. I don't have this on GameCube, which is a bummer, but GameCube's insane right now, so why not? I've watched some of Buffy, and I do think it's cool, but I need to, like, really have it grab me and want me to, like, binge it. But it's got 2 games, and both games are kind of cool, beat 'em up, hack and slashers, whatever. Let's move those around. Surprisingly, I have 3 Xbox One games. It feels like the most that I've ever done since I first got an Xbox One to get 3 games. First, we have The Council, which is a adventure story-based game, episodic story-based game. You do not get to be master. They let you in the council, but you won't get to be master. That's a super lame joke. 1793, as a member of a secret society, you receive an invite from an enigmatic lord to a private function with some of the world's most influential people. When playing power games with the occult, one slip could be fatal. So it's got, like, really dark, like I said, like, occult themes, and it's got, like, historical figures in it. Like, you can see what is almost certainly George Washington, but I can't necessarily tell. That's George Washington, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, so it's just cool stuff. That looks like Napoleon Bonaparte right there, even though he doesn't have a hat on. And just, yeah, cool looking stuff. Type of game that I'm into as long as the story is done well. Pillars of Eternity Complete Edition. I was really surprised to see how cheap this game got. This is a Obsidian like dungeon crawler. Obsidian typically does a really good job with RPGs and stuff, and even though it's not really my type of thing, I do like these, more or less Diablo clones that do a really good job. So I'm glad to have that. It's not expensive, and I was happy to pick it up for about $10. And ScreamRide, because we're all looking for something that can fill the void left by Roller Coaster Tycoon. This probably won't do it, but it's an Xbox exclusive, and I eventually wanted to pick it up, and I did. This is not so much its own pickup, but a sort of a condensing of my collection. I did have all 3 of these games separately: Tomb Raider Legend, Tomb Raider Anniversary, and Tomb Raider Underworld. I had them all on different systems. I think I had Legend for Xbox, Anniversary for PS2, and Underworld for Wii. And PS3 has, even though they're keeping the store open, is still going a little bit crazy. And I saw that this was still on the cheaper side, and I was thinking about all 3 of those games. And I said, would you rather play that on PS3 with a PS3 controller, and at the very minimum, play like the PS3 version of Underworld, which is what should be the version of 3. Yeah. Legend and Anniversary Remastered. Underworld was a PS3 game, so they just threw it on here. At the very least, this is like I'm getting a better version of Underworld than I would have. And Legend and Anniversary also have that HD remaster on them too. And it's all on one disc and has bonus content, so cool games that I really like, and haven't played that much of them, but in a better package than I would have had them in before. Then we have some Switch games today. Two releases that I picked up this morning. One of them I'm dying to finish this video so I can go and start it. New Pokemon Snap. Gee, I've only been waiting 21 years for this. God, I wanted them to do this. I thought they had the perfect opportunity to do this on the Wii U, but better late than never. I cannot wait to get into that. Holy shit. All my life, I've been wanting that. The other one, which unfortunately won't get cracked into for a long time, and still has this... I actually wanted to open it and look at it, but I just been like, no, just leave it. R-Type Final 2 Inaugural Flight Edition, which is R-Type, an R-Type game. It's supposed to have like 100 different ships in it, like new gameplay, and just really, really nice package. And it's got a big box with, let's see, art book, soundtrack, art book, and big box. So yeah, not a ton in here, but it's a shoot 'em up, and like I'm gonna pick those up day one because those will probably fall by the wayside after a while. And then another game actually that I was hoping I would get to. No, I picked it up knowing that I would want to play it right away, but that also Pokemon Snap was coming out at the end of the week. Later, Alligator. This is a heavily inspired by like Earthbound and Undertale type of adventure-y game with alligators in a big city. Published by Fangamer, so, the people that publish all the Undertale stuff. Lots of, like, comedy, lots of cool animation, mini games, and stuff like that. It just looks like, a story-based game that I'm going to be really, really into and really enjoy it for being cute and funny, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm totally on board with that. Continuing to make sure that I get every VGNY Soft game that comes out on Switch, because why not? Tanuki Justice, this is a co-op run and gun type game, which I think is the second one of those that they've made and published, but looks really cool, looks really nice. Not much more to say about that. An upgrade, well, not so much an upgrade because it wasn't my copy of this before, but I Crash Bandicoot 4, which my girlfriend got as soon as it came out on PS4, and I said, that's coming out on Switch, I'm going to wait. But I did play it, and now I have it on Switch, and good to have, because it's so good. And lastly, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. Now, I played Hyrule Warriors 1 a little bit in its original release on the Wii U, and I'm not crazy about it because I'm not crazy about the Dynasty Warriors formula of gameplay, but the key difference for me with this game to anything else is that this is its own story, and it is a prequel to Breath of the Wild. And that's really cool. That actually has really caught my interest more than Hyrule Warriors by itself will. Hyrule Warriors is largely fan service with a bunch of characters and locations. This is important to fleshing out Breath of the Wild as a whole, and I think that's really, really, really cool and will get me to try it. And that's it for this month. Like I said, dying to play Pokemon Snap. That's been on my radar since they announced it, a year ago. That's the rest of my day. Like, that's what I'm doing. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next month.